Hi everyone. In today's philosophical ethics video, I want to discuss John Rawls and the theory of justice. Before we ask the question or answer the question, what is justice, we have to ask ourselves, what is an injustice? An injustice is where a particular group of people rig the system in order to benefit themselves or to harm another group of people. An example of this would be, say, everybody has the right to vote, but you can't be black or gay, Hispanic. You have to be a particular kind of Christian. You can't be Jewish. You gotta be specifically a white landowner. That is essentially an unjust law. That is an unjust rule because that's an injustice because that law is benefiting a particular kind of people, a particular group of people. Another example may be creating opportunities for a particular group of people, but denying it to a different kind of people. And because you denied it to that group of people, they live in perpetual destitution. They live in constant poverty because of what you did. So now we have to ask ourselves, well then, what is justice? This is where John Rawls comes into play. John Rawls was a philosopher who created, or who's most known for, a theory of justice. In it, he says justice is fairness. Well then, what is fairness? How do you determine fairness? John Rawls came up with two theories, or two concepts to help support or help determine fairness. He came up with the original position, and he also came up with the veil of ignorance. The original position was this hypothetical situation where Rawls essentially asks, what laws would people agree to? What laws would people conform to under fair conditions? Well, how do you determine fair conditions? This is the second concept, where the second concept, the veil of ignorance, or operating behind the veil of ignorance, comes into play. The veil of ignorance is an imaginary device where people choose the basic structures of society, but the twist is they don't know who they are as individuals. They don't know their race, sex, gender, religion. They don't know any of it. And Rawls assumed that a just society would be one where people conform to the rules of those agreed to in the original position. Because when you operate in the original position, you're operating behind the veil of ignorance. And in the veil of ignorance, you don't know who you are. So you can't think about yourself as an individual and laws benefiting you. You have to think about everybody. You have to think about everybody's perspective. And so he assumes that the laws would be fair because you wouldn't be in favor of a sexist law without knowing what your sex was. You wouldn't be in favor of a racist law without knowing what your race was, because you could very well be on the receiving end of that law. And so, in summary, justice is fairness. Fairness is whatever you'd agree to behind the veil of ignorance. If you wouldn't agree to a law behind the veil of ignorance, then that law is most likely unfair. That law is most likely unjust. I challenge you to analyze the variety of laws we have and think about it behind, not as you as an individual, think about it behind the veil of ignorance and ask yourselves whether that law is just or unjust. With that, I thank you for checking out this video. I wish you the best of luck on your philosophical journey.